Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies. We are inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management. Get everything you need to the cloud. It's time to modernize, Joe. We had the Rowback OG Golf Classic on Friday at Eagle Ridge. Drew and the crew from Copiers Plus was there. And just to show you how they are modernizing, Drew gave me this prop. I know we do props on Thursdays, but he gave me this old, yellowed, faded Meta classic office phone. And I feel like today's an appropriate day for it because we got a lot of OG sports phone calls from Saturday night. Lots of them, Joe.
Speaking of the Rowback OG Golf Classic, congrats to Evan Woodard and his team, Peyton, Mason, and Jameson. What a playoff.
I know.
Between Team Hometown Realty
Incredible.
and G-Town Golf, Jackson and Lake, and both hit amazing shots. But Evan's crew coming through in the playoff. It was amazing.
We had a good time at the OG Golf Classic. Highly recommend that you attend next year's Rowback OG Golf Classic. We'll talk about that a little bit more in housekeeping. So yeah, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's talk about NC State's loss to Virginia Tech on Saturday. Is this the part, before I get to the OG sports phone calls, is this the part where you say, I told you so?
No. This was, look, this was very predictable in the sense that it was such a trap game. I watched Virginia Tech. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't watch Virginia Tech against Old Dominion. I didn't watch them against Vanderbilt. I did watch them against South Carolina. I thought they were an athletic team, had some good players. The quarterback is like a 7th-year guy.
Sure.
Good dude, can move it around, can run a little bit.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm like, wait a minute, Drones is still in the league?
Yeah. So
I had that thought.
I took this as a spot where probably you're looking ahead. Everyone's looking ahead to Notre Dame or whatever you're trying to do. It just seemed like a difficult spot to me that we've seen before. Now we'll get to that. But I thought defensively, it's funny. That may have been their best defensive game of the year, at least, points wise.
Yeah.
Right.
And also a difficult spot for the team in general, because DJ Elliott, the defensive coordinator, his daughter passed away.
His 18-year-old daughter who basically spent her whole life fighting cancer. And so that's
look, man, we're not even going to pretend how rough or understanding we can be. I saw some quotes from the players. I saw quotes from Dave Doeren. They're all devastated. And it's all understanding. I know that the Elliott family has asked, for donations to cancer research. I mean, we just did Balls versus Cancer with the Scalar brothers at the Rialto. And we met with and heard from stories of folks who have been battling it, and research, giving money, all that stuff matters. So whichever cause might be the one that is close to you, by all means, donate money as we continue to fight that. So there's all sorts of context here related to what's going on
at state,
which is important to say up front. But I know at the end of the day, people see the results, and they also see, I know what you're saying about defense. In all things considered, they were okay. I thought you got what you expect out of an NC State defense. They were going to give up big chunk plays. They can't get off the field on third down, which has been consistent all year long. Okay. It really, to me, the eye-opener was after a suboptimal performance against Duke, in which you turned the ball over 4 times. You were very tepid offensively against a Virginia Tech team that, if you look at the totality of their season so far, they can't stop anybody. Okay. I know you say you didn't watch the Old Dominion game, but I know a lot of State fans are doing. They're watching an Old Dominion team run it up on Virginia Tech. And you're wondering, well, wait a minute, you actually got dudes on offense. Why did you not get into the 30s in this game? Which again is another through line for this NC State team.
Yeah, which is what Dave actually said. He said, if you would have told me we gave up 23 points, I would have thought we won.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to score. That's how they win. And offensively, it just wasn't there for the Wolfpack.
Those are the two things that stood out to me. Defensively, now they've played 5 games. They've given up a touchdown run of 35 yards or longer in 3 of them. And Terrian Stewart's 85-yard run wasn't a touchdown in this game, but obviously it turned the game.
Dude, 175 yards on the ground.
State's up 14-13. VT's backed up. You have the momentum. The place is all on your side. And he pops this 85-yard run that looked like it was out of the Keystone Cops. It needed like the Yakety Sax soundtrack because you had 4 guys tackle the umpire. And it was like, what in the world is happening here? So I thought defensively, again, you could look at it and go, obviously difficult situation, but the big plays keep adding up against this team. And then you look at offensively, you have twice you take the lead in the second half. Twice. And on those 2 drives, you go 4 plays, 9 yards. Okay. You punt it away, get it back. Minute 25 left. 4th and 1. And this is a long time problem that I've had with Dave and his short yardage management situation. They go to the shotgun, and it's okay if you pass. It's even okay if you run. But what forever my biggest dispute with Dave of all of this stuff really is an X and O coaching thing, which drives him crazy because what do I know about football?
Right. What do you know about football?
The play they ran, fine. It goes to Justin Jolie.
I mean,
it's the same play that they ran against Wake Forest in 2018 when the money was on the table. They had Thayer Thomas, then a little used receiver in the slot. And it's just a basic out route. There's no pick. There's no rub. There's no crisscross. There's nothing to deceive the defense. And at some point, you have to advance past the idea, my player is better than yours. And you have to scheme players open. It's really one of his biggest downfalls in these short yardage money situations. Their play calling lacks imagination. And it cost them once again. And people leaving that stadium on Saturday night were not happy.
Let me ask you this.
We're not happy. Because you know where we are on the RV lot, right? Like because we walk out. It's the whole, you can't leave the stadium on that side of the building without walking past me. And I had no less than 3 or 4 people, screaming, not even like just screaming into the abyss.
Yeah.
Giglio, this has to be the worst loss. You can't defend this, Giglio. I'm not going to try to defend it. I'm not going to try to defend it. All I was saying last week was the context of I really didn't like how the last basketball season went as a whole in the way that they treated a coach. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Dave get that same treatment this year. That's all. That was my entire point. I'm not defending Dave. I'm not accusing the entire fan base, as our guy Scott said, of being monolithic and all having the same idea. What I'm saying, though, is I didn't like how that went down for Kevin, and I don't wish that upon Dave. And I am not happy to be right that what happened this week is now leading us down this path of people treating Dave in a way that I just feel like is not productive.
One last thing about the final play. Again, I'm a football idiot when it comes to these things. You do have Will Wilson, who has been pretty money in short
successful.
yardage.
And that's been a wrinkle this year that they've used.
So that's what so you're thinking about. All right, you run the same play, and I get you want to use your best players. Quote unquote, again, my team is on the field, right? Well, you got CJ Bailey, you got Justin Jolie. Literal money's on the table when we talk about these guys. But I'm also seeing a Dave Doeren offense that has gotten creative in short yardage situation, and it's been pretty effing money with Will Wilson. Now, I get the context that there's no timeouts, but you do have to stop the clock to reset for a first down. Right. So you can be pretty on top of that in a short yardage situation.
That would have been tough to pull off. Now,
it would have been tough to pull off.
They could have used CJ in a similar situation. They didn't have to. They could have. There's a lot of different things they could have done. And then they didn't do. And it's not just this game. Yeah. It's been a pattern throughout his entire tenure where they struggle in short yardage and fourth down situations.
All right, let's go to the OG Sports phone. There was a lot of calls to the OG Sports phone. We appreciate everybody who called in. I started getting the notifications all throughout Saturday night.
Yeah, there were some people who were also like, are you going like emergency live right now? I'm like, I don't even know where Ovies is.
I was coming back from the rink. I was at Invisalign. So I was able to watch the last quarter and a half of how that all unfolded. But really, what's the point? Because we were going to get a lot of sometimes you go live for situations that you anticipate. Other times you go live for what? So you can hear 90 minutes of the same phone call? I mean, come on now. Like, I mean that in a loving way. Like, I get that people are calling the sports phone, and it's therapy for a lot of people. So I thought, all right, let's wait till Monday. Let me break these out into 3 categories and give you the best version of the 3 categories, okay? So here's category number 1.
919 444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
I don't think category number 1 needs explanation. I can just let this call from an 828 number do it for me.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone to say, fuck you, Dave.
Oh, boo.
No explanation needed. Were they at the Ryder Cup, by the way?
Potentially.
A little carryover from the Ryder Cup?
A lot of similarities. Same with the Penn State crowd.
Whoa, buddy.
You think Dave's feeling it today?
Man,
Whoa.
James Franklin's getting heat
Whoa.
all weekend and into the week. Here's category number 2, which is in the vein of, is this the worst loss in Dave Doeren history?
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Just got done watching that travesty of a game, losing to an interim coach that got fired from Tulsa, of all places. I heard the broadcasters earlier in the game say that NC State was second in both overall wins and ACC wins in the last 6 seasons. Well, at halftime, I decided to go back and look. And in those seasons, 13 10-win seasons have occurred in the ACC, none of which have been NC State. And 8 teams have been in the ACC championship game, none of which have been NC State. So why are we keeping this guy around? Thanks, guys.
So that is in the vein of you can look at all the counting stats of the Dave Doeren era, and you can be the fourth longest tenured coach. He can have easily the most stable run of NC State coaches in football, at least in my lifetime. Right? You can say all these things, but when you don't have a division title, when you don't have a bunch of signature wins, you don't have that 10-win season. That elusive 10-win season. Well, the losses end up sticking out even more, right? Because you look at those losses and you think, man, what could have been? Right. Or this is why you can't get to ... So I decided, and you kind of, as you said, you had people screaming at you, this has to be the worst loss. And a funny thing happened when I started looking back at the Dave Doeren era. The first one is, wow, it's really saying something that we can sit here and do Dave Doeren's top 5 worst losses. That's saying something.
We did during the summer.
Well, we did in totality.
Which you effectively did.
We effectively did.
During the summer.
A lot of them ended up becoming NC State football examples, right?
The Mount Rushmore of Triangle Good.
Yes. So it is saying something that we can sit here and come up with a list of your worst losses.
Yeah.
But it's also saying something that you've been around long enough that we can actually have this discussion. So the man's a survivor.
I was going to say, number 1 on my list happened 9 years ago.
Okay.
Which is kind of hard to believe.
So worst loss requires a lot of context if you think about it, though. So like last year, I can go to 2024 and look at the 51-10 loss to Tennessee in ABC primetime. Yet another example where the lights are on you, people have some expectations, and you, for lack of a better term, shit the bed. And I know you said this last year, you're screaming this last year. You want to know why you don't get these games? This is why. So it was just another problem for the Dave Doeren era.
Yeah, but obviously a pretty good Tennessee team. They ended up in the playoff. They're not bad.
Then you got 2023, a 24-3 loss at Duke, where Henry Beelan IV, this is now what, the second reference we've made in as many weeks about Henry Beelan IV? He throws two TD passes in his first career start, and State just gets embarrassed 24-3 to Duke. That was the one in terms of worst losses. Is like, hold up, Mike Elko just got here. He's got a backup QB in Henry Beelan IV, and you just got sunned? What's going on here? That's a pretty bad loss. Let's keep going, shall we? 2022. Now, this one requires even more context. I know what we remember in 2022 was the end of the game to Boston College and a call that should not have been called at home. That is not to trigger you. So just put a pin in that, okay? We even discussed this with our guy in July.
Jeff Hafley.
With Al Riveron.
Al, I thought you meant the time I motherfucked Jeff Hafley over this call.
You did that another ACC kickoff, okay?
That was different.
But the point here is that NC State was a 3-touchdown favorite, and that was BC's 3rd win of the season, okay? That was a bad BC team that you lost to. That's a bad loss, all things considered.
Emmett Moorhead. was the quarterback's name. Never to be heard
I've
from
never heard
again.
from that. Well, same thing with Henry Beeler IV. Haven't heard from that guy ever again. 2021 at Mississippi State, 24-10. That requires a little bit more like, where do you want to rank these? This is an opportunity for you at a conference game, which you never really get to do against an SEC opponent. You go there and it just was a bad day to have a bad day for NC State. 2020, I think we all agree 2020 was Dave's best work, right?
Correct.
Okay, so 2020, nothing there. 2019, they do go 4-8, but I would argue that might have been the worst quarter in the NC State Dave Doeren era, where ABC is saying, I've never seen this before, as people are filing out of Carter Finley Stadium on a cold-ass night when they were down, 28-0.
In the immortal words of Chris Fowler, I've seen people leave at halftime before. I've never seen a crowd leave after the first quarter before.
2018, you got the Jamie Newman game against Wake Forest. You got the double whammy, 2017, 2018 with Wake Forest. I know you're now having a breather. And then, of course, you have to go way back. I think people have forgotten this one because, again, gets to my point. It's saying something where people want to rank your worst losses. That 2016 ECU loss might have been the worst loss of the Dave Doeren era.
There's a lot in 17 that you
Am I just
potentially yada.
That's fair. I'm just trying to whip through these.
I know.
I'm just trying to just to make a point. Just to make a point.
Season to taste when we say the word worst, though.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Like, hold please. We could just hold please.
Okay. I have no idea. Oh, I see. I see what Joe's doing. He's going over to get his very favorite Ethan Hyman picture from that was the South Carolina.
Try to understand the reason these people are so miserable is they outgained South Carolina by 500 yards and by 40 first downs. David Hale looked it up and it was there have been 7 million college football games where one team has outgained the other by 400 yards.
Uh-huh.
And this is the only time that Team A has ever lost.
How about that?
And it's what?
Yeah.
And it was Will Muschamp. It wasn't even a good South Carolina team. But Deebo Samuel was on that team.
He was that dude. So I think we've illustrated.
God.
Have we illustrated the point here when it comes to Dave and these losses?
No, I need to make the argument about 16 because I think people can lose the context of 16.
Oh, what the ECU loss with Scotty Montgomery as the head coach of the Pirates?
Because this is why this one stands the test of time.
Okay.
All right. So NC State. So there's a couple different levels here. Tennessee was a really good team last year. You're right. Boston College was kind of garbage. It did cost them the chance to win 10 games. It was a very costly loss. That was not a good team. But
Boston College is quintessential. But Clemson, but Florida State, but a 2-win BC team that came to your place as a 3-touchdown favorite. You couldn't close the deal.
And they were up by a lot. At least that Boston College team had Zay Flowers, who caught 1 million passes and essentially was responsible for winning that game. The 2016, may I present the loss? The 2016 ECU. Let's start this from the game management perspective. Okay. NC State lost a 3-point game, 33-30, against ECU on the road during the day. Fine. They missed a 42-yard field goal in the first half. They missed a 44-yard field goal in the first half. Okay. In the first half, when they scored their second touchdown, they went and tried a 2-point play, Joe, the swinging gate, where they lined up on the left and the one guy was over here in the center and the kicker.
Yeah.
Joe, Dave Doeren's been the coach at NC State for 13 years. He never ran the swinging gate before that play, and he has not run it since that play. It caught the homemade AV club who was doing the broadcast that day by so much of a surprise. There is no video evidence of it from the broadcast. That's how bad the play was. Mm-hmm. There's no replay of it. It's not included on Cylon Wolf's the show on YouTube. Okay, that's how much of a mystery that play is.
For those who don't know what Joe is referencing, that you just got me on the Cylon Wolf reference.
He puts every NC State hoops and football game that's available on YouTube.
On YouTube, yes.
Afterwards,
yes.
Okay,
yes.
So that's missed extra point, 1 point, 2 missed field goals, 6.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking 50-yarders here, Joe. 42 and 44. Then in the fourth quarter, after missing those 2 field goals, he ran a fake field goal Kyle Bambard now was back in the game after Connor Haskins was the one who missed the field goals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is Kyle Bambard before losing to Clemson, mind you. AJ Cole was the holder. Yes, AJ Cole's in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He's a punter. On their fake field goal, they decided to run the option with the punter running the option to the kicker. What do you think ECU did on that play? So there's 10 missed points, coaching malpractice in a 3-point loss. Now let's add the context. In 2016, NC State had 17 future NFL, 18 if you count AJ Cole because he wasn't drafted.
Yeah.
They had 18 NFL players on their roster.
I don't know.
18. Fully and completely stacked.
That's on some Amano levels.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Now, but you're like, well, surely, Joe, ECU was really, really good. This was Scotty Montgomery's second game. I want you to understand something. Scotty Montgomery in his career won 8 total games against 1A teams.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty Montgomery in 3 years at ECU went 1-2 against 1AA teams. He had a losing record to 1AA teams, including the world famous loss to North Carolina A&T. Bring me my money. But Scotty Mo will forever have one over on Dave Doeren, because among those 8 wins over 1A teams, 3 were over UConn,
Mm-hmm.
who were on a historic bender.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
One was over a 2-win UNC team. One was over a 4-win Old Dominion team. One was over Cincinnati and BYU, who both had losing records. So,
not a roster with 18 NFLers on it.
So, in the entirety of Scotty Montgomery's 3-year tenure at ECU, he won 1 football game against a team with a winning record. It was NC State in 2016. So, the defense rests. You can't top that. Okay? I'm not saying go home happy on Saturday night, but just go home with perspective. The worst loss has been retired. It was in 2016 against ECU.
Hey.
Oh,
we still got football left.
Well,
Joe.
but the 17 loss to Wake Forest, by the way, you say, as Dave Clawson said, well, we were pretty good. Well, sure, you were. But you're telling me Dave Doeren's best team is not better than Wake Forest's best team?
That's the problem. See, that's the problem.
I love you, Dave Clawson, but
that's
no, you didn't have. And that 17 team was even better than the 18 team. Now you're getting into stakes.
Yeah.
The 18 team inexplicably was number 14 in the college football playoff. 22 in the AP poll.
Well, it wasn't inexplicable. It had Clemson reasons for them to be 14.
You're right. They were trying to position teams that...
Yes. Never forget that part of the MO of the college football playoff check-in shows...
Back in the four-team era.
In the 4-team era was to justify the rankings of teams above them. So for Clemson's purposes, you needed to justify that with NC State being ranked where they were.
There was an 8 ranking disparity between the AP and the college football playoff, which doesn't happen a lot.
It doesn't happen a lot.
And NC State had in front of them 4 games, 3 against coaches who were going to be fired or were already fired. And then Wake Forest missing multiple starters in this game, including handsome Sam Hartman.
Mm-hmm.
So Jamie Newman had to start in this game. A 3-touchdown favorite. They led by 10 points twice in this game, including going into the 4th quarter, and still ended up losing.
So if you take anything from this segment, Saturday night is not.
It was bad.
It is
I'm
not.
I'm not gonna lie, but again, I don't think Virginia Tech is as bad as the circumstances that preceded this game.
I agree, but the point still stands in that you had coming off the Duke game, going up against an interim coach.
You should have been
just a dead in the water type team in the ACC.
Your players took it too,
and then that's what ends up happening on a Saturday night. The third category of call that we received, we have our 3. We have the Fire Dave Doeren, worst loss category, and then now my personal favorite. It's ... season from a 7-0. This is from a 919.
NC State doing NC State things again and again and again. You just knew this was going to happen. When does hockey season start? I'm ready. Thanks, guys.
Well, good news. Preseason just wrapped up. Canes got a win last night over Nashville at Lenovo.
You mean the home team who played more players than the road team won in a preseason game?
Might be some math to that. Might be some math. So, hey, is it hockey season yet? That's
no, next Thursday is our opener. Yeah. So they got to play a couple on the road.
So there's that. And here's from a 704.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Cool boy. Hubert Davis and Will Wade have their work cut out for them because this state desperately needs to be rescued from football season. Fuck me.
However, what I did not have on my bingo card as September comes to a close, I did not have Duke as the lone holdout in the triangle with the, is it basketball season yet? I'm ready for basketball season. Duke, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of predictable things that we told you were going to happen on Saturday, Duke went up to Syracuse and absolutely handled the Orange. A little context here. The Orange, they're missing their quarterback who was highly productive, Angeli. He's out for the season. And then, of course, you also have the classic. Fran Brown is like the hot commodity coming off a thrilling victory over Clemson. I mean, absolutely owning Clemson there. Fran Brown's talking the talk. But then he has this performance against Duke. And as Spencer Hall joked on Blue Sky, Fran Brown's going to stink this week. Because remember, he doesn't shower when they lose.
Oh, no.
Doesn't shower when they lose. From an 828.
What a week to be a Duke football fan in the Triangle. Not only is Bill Belichick out here embarrassing himself in new ways every single day, NC State losing to the doormats of the ACC, and then you just got Manny Diaz over here chilling, just waltzing up to New York, and Fran Brown getting all the hype now after that Clemson win. Duke says, hold my beer, catches the dub. Duke, motherfucker.
I enjoyed that call. I'll say this about Duke. As much as I predicted this to happen, because it was all there for Syracuse to just have a complete letdown game with all the context that I provided. What I was most curious about was post NC State win, was Duke going to get back to what made Duke under Manny Diaz last year? Winning the turnover battle.
Yeah.
Right.
Defense.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a really good defense last year. Their defense has been suspect this year.
And
they showed out.
And sure enough, after a winning the turnover battle against NC State, they won the turnover battle again against Syracuse with 2 early turnovers to pump them out to like what I think it was a 24-3 lead. So the defense looks to be looking the part again. The curiosity is, could the offense stick with it? And look, there's a reason why I was getting a little annoyed at some of the Darian Mensah, like, well, if he really was that good, then, Tulane would have tried to keep him, or how did he end up at Duke? There's this whole weirdness about, like, how did Duke end up with this guy? It was some early returns, the loss to Illinois and the loss to Tulane, it essentially becoming, see, maybe he wasn't that good. Why was he getting this contract? Why would such a good player end up at Duke, ... So let's just look at Darian Mensah's season so far. Statistically, has been pretty on point. And after they've overcome those early season, as I've said in the past, kick yourself in the nuts type games in the losses to Tulane and to Illinois. You can't turn the ball over that many times. You can't drop passes the way they were dropping passes. If you clean that up and don't hurt yourself, you're a good enough team in the ACC that you can make some noise. Clearly, we're seeing that. And right now, to blow this up into the entirety of the ACC, I mean, it was setting up for a real big transitive property kind of weekend for NC State had they been able to hold serve against Virginia Tech. If you think about it, Virginia on Friday night, speaking of things we discussed, Virginia on Friday night in a wild one.
Got that one wrong.
Over Florida State. That was a wild one. I'm curious. I haven't seen the fine yet, but I'm guessing there would be a huge fine.
Oh, yeah.
For what
Who
happened
knew
in
Virginia
Charlottesville.
had even that many people who knew where the football stadium was?
I have not seen a field storm happen as quickly as that one did. And then, of course, Wake Forest kind of jumped the gun a little bit because they were getting ready to storm the field with a potential win over Georgia Tech. That goes to overtime, although that gets us back to the sports phone.
Well, before we leave Duke, their next 3 games will determine their season.
Agree.
They go to Cal, which is a little bit trickier than you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get a week off. They get GT here, which I would assume Duke will be ranked by that point. I know that the Illinois loss, they're losing out on the transitive property, but it does feel like they're being slightly overlooked if Virginia's ranked.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm confused on that one. And then they go to Clemson on November 1st. So their next games are on the road at Cal and Clemp, and a big week off before a huge home game against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that's Duke's season. Absolutely Duke's season.
Because it's in play for them. Now they're going to have to edge out some other people, but Florida State's not on their schedule. So they got to beat Georgia Tech for tiebreaker purposes.
Every time we talk about the ACC, it's brought to you by our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Check them out, bloominblinds.com. That's Bloomin, I-N, blinds.com. Chris and the crew, Chris and Nico, were out at the OG Golf Classic. They had a good time, and they're going to make sure that you get what you need for your house or your office when it comes to automation, blackout curtains, just dressing up the place. Bloomin' Blinds is going to take care of you. So hit them up at bloominblinds.com. That's Bloomin, I-N, blinds.com. We got this text to the sports phone. Is the ref crew that blew the offsides call in the Wake Forest Georgia Tech game the same crew that blew the offsides call on Duke in the NC State game last week that ended with a CJ Bailey interception? Or is this a conference-wide can't seem to call offsides correctly problem? Yeah. Wake got a little hosed in that situation.
Wake fans not happy.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I absolutely do not blame them in that situation. And some other college football notes, but before we move on to housekeeping, nationally, who knew that Kirby Smart and James Franklin have some things in common in that you can't get over in certain situations? Kirby Smart, I'm sitting here thinking like Kalen DeBoer's time, man. Like, we'll see what happens down at Georgia. It kind of puts the Florida State game in some context, right? It was to say more about Florida State, to say more about Alabama, like that kind of thing, right? Hey, look, man, credit to DeBoer. I watched the majority of that game in the second half and was impressed in how calm, cool, and the right play calls were happening to get over on Kirby Smart, who has an Alabama problem.
The big guy touchdown. The screen to the tackle. That was pretty good.
That's pretty good. That was pretty good. So Kirby Smart continues to have an Alabama problem. It goes beyond Nick Saban, apparently. Who knew? And then meanwhile, we got James Franklin, who's got a top 10 problem. James Franklin now 4-21 versus the top 10 in what ended up being dubbed the Narrative Bowl. If the Duke-Syracuse game could be dubbed the Greg Paulus Bowl,
oh dear,
this was the Narrative Bowl for some people because neither Penn State nor Oregon had really played anybody to this point, and they were curious about their college football playoff projections. James Franklin had to get the whole top 10 foibles off his list. Obviously, that did not happen. And Oregon had to look like they were a legitimate contender in a whiteout situation up at Penn State. They come out victorious in what was a pretty entertaining ball game between Penn State and Oregon.
Yeah, I'm really not sure how Penn State scores those last two touchdowns at the end of the fourth quarter and doesn't win that game at home in the way that they did. That was curious. And I know Drew Allaire has taken all of the heat on that one.
Oh,
and,
yeah, you sent me that clip. There's a lot of like people just chanting "fuck you" over the weekend because you sent me that clip of Penn State fans leaving Happy Valley, not so happy, chanting, "fuck Allard." So
it's just so weird though that it takes for it to be 17-3 before like it was like, oh, if we do this,
oh hey,
it was just a weird way that game unfolded. I actually feel bad for Penn State. I do.
All I know is that Franklin's going to get roasted throughout the week. I know Feinbaum's already going all in on James Franklin. He's a target of Paul Feinbaum every single time. You just cannot take Penn State seriously with James Franklin.
Pretty sure one of his wins that counts as a top 10 is the Boise one from the playoff last year. It's like, cool.
It counts.
Cool.
It counts though.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to our friends at Enovana for sponsoring Housekeeping. You can check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
Again, big thanks to everybody who participated in the Rowback OG Golf Classic. Of course, most importantly, our friends at Rowback. It was good to see Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Ben it arrived. It's about to be on sale. Big thanks to our friends at Rowback. You can check them out online at rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Again, that's OG20. Ben has been on a mission to find something at Roback that screams Joe Ovies and not Joe Giglio. The goal was to find something that I would absolutely no hesitation wear on a consistent basis, and Giglio would never wear because it's just not his look. And damn it, if Roback didn't do it. The shacket is about to drop. It arrived at my house yesterday. It's like this herringbone. The material's amazingly comfortable. I need the temperatures to drop like ASAP. I will be wearing it next week at ACC tip-off.
Oh, nice.
You know, because you all know me. Like once it gets a little cooler out, I'm just throwing a shacket over these t-shirts, right? It's glorious. It looks good. It's multifunctional. I can wear it out. I can wear it to work. You can dress it up. Folks, this is the one. I'm so excited about it. Well, I
believe the words from Ben were, I know everything in our catalog is mostly something that you would wear that Ovies wouldn't. He said, I think I finally have something that only Ovies would wear and you would never.
And he's right. You'll never wear this thing, but I will. It's fantastic. Again, go to roback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Joe mentioned it earlier. Our friends at Hometown Realty, they were hanging out at the OG Golf Classic. They won the whole thing.
Yeah.
We thank them for their excitement. Good crew, man. Good to catch up with those guys when I was on the 12th hole. Everybody was asking me about where the OG light was. And I said, take it up with Giglio. Not my call.
I mean, guys,
it's his golf tournament.
Guys. Wow. Yes.
People were wondering.
There were free beer. We
saying,
provided free beer.
People were saying.
Did we not provide free beer?
We did provide free beer. There was just some people that were expecting free OG light.
Okay.
That's all.
No, I just want to give these guys a shout out because they found their HDR sign. So this is where I had to tell Barry, I now have to go get a legit trophy.
Yes.
Like I didn't know this was a thing that I was going to need to do for next year, but
yeah, man.
We're on it. Congrats to the crew.
Yeah, congrats to them. It was a good time, and hit them up at myhdr.com. Also, big thanks to Matt Davis. You've got your home. How much are you saving on home and auto when it comes to your insurance? Start the conversation right now. You might not have thought about these things in a long time. It's understandable. Life gets crazy. You're busy. You're doing a bunch of other stuff. Make a call. 919-779-8277. Matt Davis, InsureGarner.com is going to make sure that you save money. Also, one other thing about the Golf Classic, our listeners are great. They get what we're trying to do in here.
This is glorious.
So,
are you going to want to save this for Thursday?
No, we'll just do it now, man. It's right after the.
We'll do it live.
So shout out to Chris because he provides a lot of our.
Oh, Chris.
He provides a lot of our bourbon.
Yeah.
But he also wanted to make sure that you got some Cincy Light from Ryan Guys.
I'm excited about
that.
So
here's some beer flavored beer.
Yeah.
So there's that. He also brought me a Rheingeist shirt that when I was up in Dayton, I did not have a chance to. This is how you're a true beer nerd around town. Do you have one of these? If you're wearing a Rheingeist brewery shirt around Raleigh, that tells me you're a super beer nerd. Now I get to fit the bill.
There we go.
But more importantly,
this is the pièce de résistance.
Joey brought this?
Yep.
This thing is amazing. This doesn't rank in losses. This just ranks in what could have been for NC State.
Yes.
Joey has, if you're watching on YouTube, a Devin Leary signed Holiday Bowl jersey with the Holiday Bowl patch. Joe, do you want to explain why this jersey is so unique and why I'm absolutely going to frame this and put it in the studio?
I didn't think it would be possible to top the MJ Morris jersey. I don't think it'd be possible to top the Canes Miko Rantanen jersey.
No.
Joey has done it with this Devin Leary Holiday Bowl, which wasn't played because UCLA decided a couple of hours before the game that they didn't have enough defensive linemen to play. So the game was canceled and Dave was on the verge of winning their 10th game. Maybe. Who knows? Not given the chance, though. The game was not played because of COVID. And that was also the peak of, oh man, Devin Leary next year. He's going to be a super weapon.
Devin Leary delivers.
Yeah.
Didn't work out that way. So big thanks. That absolutely
That's amazing.
That's amazing. That's treasure. That's going up in the studio. All right, right, it's time to log into my DraftKings Sportsbook app to see if any of my ridiculous parlays hit. And I hate to tell you, no, they did not. It got off to a bad start with my Respect the Troops parlay. The troops did not respect me. I forgot what other parlays that I ended up trying to cash in on. There was a
it's like 70 guys in the NFC South to score a touchdown.
Yes, it was the Bucky Irvin, Bijan Robinson, Alvin Kamara, and Chuba Hubbard anytime scores. Did that hit, Joe?
I don't think so.
Only Bucky Irving and Bijan Robinson were able to.
2 of the 4. That's
Two of the 4 is not bad. 2 of the 4 is not bad. We got Monday Magic tonight, though, Joe. I want to put all money on the Broncos because have you seen the jerseys the Dolphins are going to wear?
I have not.
They're awful. Just stop with these. Just go back to the classics. Why do you mess with these things? But right now, they got Monday Magic. Tyreek Hill to score a touchdown. Garrett Wilson to score a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins to score a touchdown. And Cortland Sutton to score a touchdown. You know what? I'm confident.
Are they wearing these black Miami Vice things?
I'm pretty sure they're wearing those tonight. Yes. $5 gang, stand up. We'll see what happens. Regardless of what I think about the jerseys, I do know this about DraftKings. There's something for everybody. I like these quick game parlays. Giglio, he has other ideas. You're a live line guy. But that's the point. Everything on DraftKings, there's something for everybody, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And of course, lines and odds are subject to change. Now, here's what's going on with DraftKings. If you are new, use this promo code OG25. Bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use that promo code OG25. That's code OG25 to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward, minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, he covers the Carolina Panthers. He is Mike Kaye, freshly shaved. Mike Kaye, you mixing it up. You know, if the Panthers keep doing the same thing over and over again, you got to mix it up. Is that what happens here?
Well, I was very inspired by Dave Grohl growing up, and every album he had different facial hair and different hair until we got into the 2000s, and then he just went with the long hair, beard look, which kind of disappointed me. But, you know, here we are. I'm going to grow it back very soon because my wife does not love the clean-shaven Kaye. So
yeah, man. Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. Once the spouse gets used to the facial hair, when you get rid of it, it's like, stop it, grow it back ASAP. I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah, my kids are also like, who are you?
I totally understand that. I guess we could say the same thing about the Carolina Panthers. Who are you? What is this? What is this? What happened? What happened to all the positive vibes? Feeling good after a 30-0 win over Atlanta, and you start the game out again with a successful drive, and then everything just falls apart after that. What the hell happened on Sunday at New England?
I think just on the surface, you can see that they learned the wrong lessons from the 30-0 win over the Falcons. The Falcons played a hand, as you expertly pointed out during your show last week. And I think, you know, the offense was largely the same, and that's fine when you're blowing out a team on your end. It's not when you're getting blown out on your end. On defense, the thing is, the Atlanta game, they didn't do anything spectacularly different. The coverage assignments were pretty much the same. They just use guys to their advantage within the scheme. And I think when you come out and you do the same thing without any sort of variance, you're going to get run on.
Mhm.
We've seen what this team is. They're a bad run defense. One game doesn't squash anything. 2 games doesn't squash anything. And so I think the biggest twist was special teams that was on like an absolute heater for 3 weeks. Looked like the worst special teams unit in the league. I mean, there were some things you could argue were fluky, but they did allow 167 punt return yards and a touchdown on 3 attempts. They also missed a pair of kicks that won an extra point and won a field goal. There was a touchback on a kickoff. Like, this was just an overall mess for special teams, and it sunk them when their offense couldn't be prolific.
Well, let's actually stick with the offense. I know this is something that you wrote about in the Charlotte Observer after an 0-2 start, and it's back up again after. I'm trying to find the right way to put this. You can correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm on the wrong path here. It seems that Dave Canales, the play caller, doesn't have a good handle on things once they don't have a lead or things start to get away a little bit. They don't know how to get back into games. Is that a fair assessment? And, where do things stand on does play calling change anything, especially when you consider the only other person on that staff would be Brad Idzik, who did that in the preseason, but doesn't have a lot of experience with it. But I think we can all agree things go haywire. Whatever plan they might have had goes out the window the minute things get dicey.
Yeah, I don't think this team knows how to play from behind, especially early. I think it is extremely hard to be a head coach and a play caller in this league. This is not the days of Belichick. This is not the days of Andy Reid in the early 2000s. There's so many movable pieces. Jobs have changed. It's well documented. The GM job has evolved exponentially over the last 10 to 15 years. It has for the head coach as well. And I think when you're trying to manage a game while also trying to figure out a play calling sequence, especially when you're calling from behind, it's extremely difficult. It's something that I've suggested that they potentially move on from Dave Canales as a play caller. I think ideally down the road, he probably would love to give Brad Idzik those play calling duties, but it's tough to hand that over to your buddy after you've been blown out of the building on every road trip. And so setting Brad Idzik up to fail probably isn't in the cards for Dave Canales. But I also don't know what the solution is, because this team does not make adjustments. This team does not, when they're losing. Here, let me give you an interesting stat that I pulled up. Okay, so outside of T-Mac McMillan, wide receivers, the wide receiver position, this doesn't count tight ends, running backs, they are averaging 7.19 yards per catch with just 11 first downs. I understand Xavier Leggett's been sidelined. I understand Jalen Coker is on IR. Everybody made this huge deal about Hunter Renfrow. Well, now you're kind of seeing why they cut him initially. He looks slow in man coverage. He's fine against zone, but he's averaging like 5.8 yards a catch. Here's another one. Outside of T-Mac, there is only one other receiver averaging more than 10 yards per catch. That's Bryce and Tremaine. T-Mac has 7 of the 10 total 20-plus yard catches on the team. One of those 20-yard catches belongs to Chuba Hubbard on a catch and run and a blowout loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Bryson Tremaine, your big play machine, has 2 20-plus catches and is averaging roughly 12 yards a catch. That's not good. Oh, by the way, counting tight ends and running backs, unlike the previous stat.
Well, wait, Mike. I feel like this is a good opportunity. I'm gonna dial up the sports phone here for a second.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
We got this call. We got this call from a 910.
Tell me something good.
See, you're pointing out all these stats about how the totality of the wide receiver group really is suboptimal. All I'm hearing is that Ted McMillan's the real deal, Mike. That's what I'm hearing. Tell me something good, Mike.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get over the Huey Lewis in the news opening there. Yeah, McMillan's been terrific. I think he has struggled with drops and concentration issues. You're seeing some of the rookie growth there. But for the most part, I mean, he's on pace to have over 1,100 receiving yards, which exceeds my preseason expectations. I was thinking like 850 and whatever. He has not yet been the touchdown creator that I believe he can be. They only have 2 touchdowns to wide receivers so far this season, both to Hunter Renfrow in the comeback attempt against Arizona. This team just lacks explosive plays. And when you're playing from behind and you're not throwing the ball down the field, what are you doing? Like, for real, what are you doing? The running game has been largely ignored. Canales tried to get it going a little bit to start the third quarter last year, or this past game, but man, they were down, 30, what was it, 34-6 or 33-6, like at that point. So it was like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't know, man. It's hard to pick out positives after this performance because it feels like whenever they go on the road, they turn into a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Why were the special teams so bad? Because it's not like, pick your favorite punt return. Not like Devin Hester was walking through the door for the Patriots in this game.
Yeah, I think it was just, one guy missing. Like, that's how special teams is. Caleb Evans not being able to secure a sure tackle at the catch point. Marcus Jones then runs an 87-yard punt return back for a touchdown. Ryan Fitzgerald kind of melts down a little bit after missing an extra point, and then the follow-up kickoff, he has a touchback, which he hadn't done all season. Then they finally test his leg after deciding not to punt or deciding not to kick within Patriots territory twice in roughly the same range, and he comes up short there. We keep being told that he's got a big leg. Well, every 50-yarder he's attempted, he made the 57-yarder. This other one, both of them have like really kind of died as they've gone down the field. So that's something to keep in mind. Canales finally endorsed the guy, and then the next week has just kind of a meltdown there. I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think blaming a special teams coordinator is kind of risky business because he's dealing with so many moving parts, and he had been on such a heater to this point. But man, tough beat for the old special teams phase.
And also, just kind of, I have the NFL Sunday ticket, so I usually watch the game I gamble on. Now, why are the Colts seemingly functional with a shitty, terrible quarterback who, by the way, the Panthers could have had said shitty, terrible quarterback?
Shane Steichen's a much better play caller than Dave Canales is. Like, it's not even close. And I covered Shane.
I know. And you were an advocate.
You were an advocate for Shane, right?
I'm watching that game and I'm going, now their defense isn't that bad. Like, I'm watching the Colts. Their defense isn't that bad. Now they have much better skill players than take Danny Dimes out of it. Like, the Colts skill players are actually pretty good on offense. But I'm just sitting here watching a lot of these teams. I don't see a big difference between a lot of NFL teams, nor should you. Like, that's the whole point. But like, even the Dolphins.
Well, I think you're hitting on it. Going back to the McMillan thing, that's been my biggest thing, Mike, is that this team's whole offensive existence should not rely on Jalen Coker. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, no, 100%. This is not.
He's a great story. I know he's an internet thing. You got the Coke heads. I get all that kind of stuff, right? But shout out to the Reddit folks. It's like, you understand when you say it out loud, like say it out loud amongst real people, not the internet. Hey, man, if we only had Jalen Coker, that sounds like a problem to me. That sounds like a skill issue to me.
Well, I mean, it's too early to throw the draft out again, but like, Nick Scorton, does he play?
Yeah, he actually had a pretty good game. He was one of the few. Yeah, he had a really nice stop for a loss against the Patriots. He was one of the few guys that contributed. I actually think the draft class is fine this year. Last year's draft class looked terrible.
Okay. That's not good.
I haven't even gotten to Xavier Legette, who now these are 2 games in a row he's been inactive.
I mean, they've spent pretty serious draft capital on running backs who don't play.
Right.
Does Trevor Etienne play?
Well, he played at the end of the game and actually looked pretty good. And frankly, they don't have a screen game 4 weeks into the season. He should be their screen game. Here's the thing that I get kind of frustrated with as somebody who has to cover this team day in and day out is they talk about being developmentally minded. They talk about, being on the cusp of something great. This team does not take any risks for a team that has very minimal expectations. Like Dave Canales passing on longer field goals or running draw plays on 3rd and 10 only to punt. Like, what are we talking about from a situational standpoint? And I think like Dave's strength is that he is a guy who can galvanize a locker room and can lead. But I just feel like the situational play calling, the week-to-week preparation, it's not there. Like, you're not seeing it. And I think, as you guys both alluded to, when they get behind, this team just melts. Their average deficit per loss this season is 16.6 points per game. Canales, during his first 21 games, his loss deficit is 18.2 per game. He has a 10-point win point deficit, but only 2 of those games have been beyond a touchdown. And obviously that 30-0 win kind of...
It's going to skew things.
Let's
go back to last year and the wins that they did have. These were overtime thrillers. These were not in the bag type wins for the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think when your defense is giving up a record amount of points, your only option is to win shootouts.
Yeah.
But part of me wonders if they definitely don't want to win that way, right? And the defense isn't giving up, in theory, the points that they gave up last year. So you want to slow things down. The problem is when you want to slow things down, you're down 28-6, or you're down, 26-7, or what have you. Like, you can't slow them down. You have to speed them up. Like, you have no choice. And I think teams are realizing that when you get up by 2 scores on this Panthers team, they're going to slow roll themselves to death. That's basically what this is. And a lot of people were encouraged by how Arizona ended. I wasn't at all. Like, I mean, I'm not saying the Cardinals were completely in prevent defense, because they weren't. They sent blitzes and stuff like that. And the play calling was fine, but it's easy to make play calls when there are no stakes.
Yes.
The game was over. It was done.
Yes.
This game was over at halftime. Frankly, the Falcons game was over at halftime. I felt that. They felt that. It felt that way in the stadium. Even being up 10-0, the Falcons just felt like they were going to trip over their cleats. And you saw how they responded the next week. They came out and Penix was terrific, and they executed. Canales is constantly pointing out execution issues. Well, if they're not executing on a weekly basis, which they haven't for the most part outside of that Saints, Giants, and Germany stretch, like what's going on? Like what is the solution here? And they're going to go back and they're going to have these meetings and they're going to be like, well, gee golly, we should play this person or this person. That's not going to move mountains. There needs to be like a genuine philosophy change. And as I wrote in the Access Panthers newsletter, the big people beat up little people is a cool strategy when the size and the length are living up to their billing. That's not been the case here. So when you want to sit Jimmy Horn, who the fan base is screaming for, or you want to play a guy like, Brandon Walton of all people over Brady Christensen because of whatever. I mean, it's just like
poor Mike.
Right there. You don't have to be philosophy sound every single time, because the philosophy to this point is 6-15.
Yeah. No, I'm and yes, I'm having the same thought as Joe here. Just like,
I hate to be reductive, but they haven't drafted well. They don't have a lot of talent on their roster, and they hired the wrong coach and took the wrong quarterback. Think about the Colts. I'm not sitting here telling you the Colts are going to make the playoff and all this other shit. They screwed up on their pick. They scratched on Anthony Richardson, screwed up.
Yeah.
They literally took the worst quarterback in all of football and are now 3-1. So what is it? You just played the Patriots. They don't have a significant talent advantage over you.
They do not.
Patriots don't have. They don't have talent.
They do have a quarterback advantage. I will say that.
I mean, but Drake's good.
Drake's
He's not like,
good.
you're not
That was
like
Right, and Drake barely did anything in this game.
Yeah, he didn't have to. He didn't have
it's
to.
just weird.
Well, I mean, he saw DJ Johnson and he ran for a 5-yard touchdown. But
the thing is, you look at, for me, when you look at the Panthers, that doesn't make any sense. To, as you said, what do we take away from how they played in the second half against the Cardinals? And I get it. Momentum is the next day. I get all those things. But why weren't they able to build off of anything from the win over the Falcons? Like, that's the part that's a mystery to me. You open up the game with a touchdown even. Like, one of your bugaboos that's bothered you. You finally, it's just, they're a weird sunny day team. Like, weird. Oddly weird. In a league where it doesn't exist.
I've said this to people just in radio calls and writing and in the building. It's like last year's final stretch didn't happen.
Yeah.
I try to tell you.
It's almost like this is a brand new regime again with the same faces.
Like they started over.
But the mistake everybody makes, Mike, and you've been doing this long enough to know, just like we've been doing this long enough to know, especially in the NFL, there is no carryover from one season to the next when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's great that they did it at the stretch that they did it in, but there was no carryover effect for that.
Teams don't have a carryover. Players can't.
I thought they had a strong training camp. I will say this, and I will push back on the lack of talent thing. I think they are much more talented defensively than they've been in the last 2 years.
But I'm going to stop you right
by
there.
Their own standards.
By
their own standards. Yeah. I'm not saying like
you said they had a strong training camp. Okay, I'm going to take your word for it because you're there. But I also saw that nasty habit that Dave Canales seems to have of, I got this plan. Didn't go the way that I wanted it to go. Rather than sticking with the plan, what does he do? Well, throw everything out. Like, you were supposed to play these guys more in the second preseason game, and then you completely abandon that. Like, the thing that, and this is what's triggering me, when you say you didn't earn another rep on the field in the second preseason game against Houston, that's not how it works. You don't get to go off the field until you look the part. That's how it works. And I think that's a symptom of a larger problem we're seeing with the Panthers, in that there's no actual follow through on the things that you say you're going to do. Am I off base with that when it comes to Dave Canales?
I don't. So I've said it several times. I think playing in the preseason is kind of like an overhyped subject.
I'm not talking about the preseason.
I'm getting your point. I'm getting to your point.
Okay.
Words matter. We are in the business of words.
Yes.
And I say this all the time. And my colleagues sometimes get on me like, man, you really care about messaging a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I'm in the business of words.
Yes.
And listen, what I would say is, yes, there is a lot of contradiction. And I've pointed this out privately, publicly. I think that they seemed overmatched both in presentation on the field and off the field. And I think that is a critical thing to hone in on. I think you're exactly right. It just doesn't seem like, if I have to hear, oh, what a great day one more time. Like, I mean, it's just like, it feels like there's very little accountability. These guys are going to get a long runway. We knew this from the jump.
Yeah.
But if you're going to get a long runway, call the game like you're trying to win it, as opposed to not trying to lose it. Like, I watched the Cowboys try to give away last night's game that ended in a tie, and the Packers just refused to take the game. And I thought to myself, like, I don't even know if the Panthers offer up anything, whether it's optimism for a win or giving the other team the rock and letting them run with it. Like, these losses have been so lopsided. I don't know what this team is, right? We haven't seen them in a regular game. We've only seen them in blowouts. And so I don't know what this offense is. I think I've got a good idea what the defense is. But this coaching staff just seems overmatched on a weekly basis, except when they find like a truffle, in week 3. By the way, Dave Canales, 2-0 in week 3s. Just putting that
Fun fact.
Yeah. Who knew?
They've hired 2 coaches, Matt Rule and Dave Canales, who didn't know how to coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
They hired one coach so they went the other way in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
They hired Frank Reich, doing it forever, but he wasn't willing to do what David Tepper wanted him to do. So now all of a sudden you got to find a coach who can coach in the league and will get along with Tepper. I mean, good luck.
So I think that's somewhat kind of not unfair, but I think like you took the job, right?
Yeah.
Like you took the job. Like to me, like Jeffrey Lurie loves passing the ball. So when you get hired as the head coach of the Eagles, you are going to throw and throw a lot. And I guarantee you there's a lot of conversations after what happened yesterday with Lurie, who's like, what is this? You just won a Super Bowl, but what is this? Like, I remember Doug Peterson being like chastised for not passing enough after he won a Super Bowl. Like, ownership, that's the normal thing in the NFL. Ownership has those meetings. The problem with Reich, and you brought up inconsistency with messaging, is the offense changed like 4 times. Like, I mean, and honestly, I think Frank Reich is a very good coach. I think he really needed to take a break, but he wanted this Panthers job.
Mm-hmm.
And so he didn't take a break. And I think, you know, the season of adversity and starting, you know, how they did probably didn't help matters. I think ideally you want to go with somebody who's an experienced play caller. You probably want to hire somebody on offense. They should have hired Shane Steichen 3 years ago. That's the reality of the situation. If they were not hiring Steve Wilkes, they should have hired Shane Steichen. I don't think anybody really wanted this job 2 years ago.
When Canales took it.
Yeah, when Canales took it. So, like, they interviewed a lot of people, and there were some pretty good candidates. There were also candidates who passed, right? So, like, I just think they're going to have to figure this out. I think the front office is in a good spot. I think what they do is logical. Even the Adam Thielen thing, I see people like, see, I wish we would have kept Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's not stopping any of these blowouts. He's not playing. He's not playing middle linebacker.
They're not one. I think you're just nailing. And we'll wrap it here. They're not one player away. And I wish people would stop acting as though the Panthers are one player away.
They're not 5 players away.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're at the point where you're probably going to need either something's got to give this season.
They're 9 guys away on defense.
Right. Something's got to give this year. It's going to be Bryce Young or Dave Canales. End of this, you know, like that's what it's going to be. Bryce Young or Dave Canales. And I think we got the answer on Bryce Young. I think we got the answer on that. And Bryce we can add Bryce to the list of Panthers quarterbacks that go somewhere else and have a revival. Okay. As we're seeing with Baker Mayfield and we're seeing with Sam Darnold. So it might be best for Bryce Young to just go out somewhere and have a revival. And that then gets to your point about the front office. If it's in a good spot and you think Canales is the guy, well, now you're going to start from true scratch rather than what they've been trying to piece together the last 2 years. Is that fair?
I don't see a scenario where Bryce Young fails and Dave Canales just is scot-free. Not the way that this season is gone.
That's fair.
I could see Canales back, but there would be major changes to
the reason why I say Canales comes back gets to what you just said about the job. Who's going to want the job? And you can spare me. Well, there's only 32 of these. Well,
no, I would not. I hate when
years ago.
That's ridiculous.
It was the same thing 2 years ago. And as you just said, not a lot of people wanted this job. So you might be stuck with Canales one more year. Simple as that.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, if I were Tepper, I wouldn't want to be paying all these coaches that I fired. But
he's good for money.
Listen, what I would say is I think objectively this season has been terrible so far. Like you can take the home win, good, cool, hang the banner. But I think this is not what was expected from the top. I don't think this is what was expected by the coaching staff. I don't think this was expected by the brass. I think the brass had I think Dan Morgan, for all of like the criticism that he got I think he had a legitimate plan this offseason, which is more than I can say for last year when he first got the job or his predecessor in Scott Fitterer a couple of years ago. Like, I thought this offseason made sense. It's just the chefs are not cooking with it. And I'm not trying to, like, Dan Morgan shouldn't be scot-free here. He deserves criticism. I think waiting until the 4th round to take a safety was problematic. I think not addressing inside linebacker beyond Christian Roseboom was problematic. They made mistakes. Everyone has made mistakes. But I think if you're looking for a silver lining in this, I do think the front office is of one mind and trying to do the right thing based on logic. I think the coaching staff is we'll figure it out, but right now it doesn't look great.
Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer, a little Panthers therapy with Mike Kaye. Hey, look, man, if you need to jump on next week too and just kind of talk it out with us, you let us know. We'll send you some more Roback. We got some hats.
Oh man, I was gonna wear it today, but then I was like, it just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? That owl looked like he was having too good of a time for this segment, and I can't.
It might be what you need, honestly.
I love that polo, by the way. My wife loves that polo more than my clean shavenness. But.
Good stuff. Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer, man. Rough times in Charlotte. Rough times in Charlotte. All right, dude. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
Big thanks to Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. Saw some of the Miller Lending crew at the Roback OG Golf Classic. Yeah. Austin in the crew. Danny, hadn't seen Danny in a hot minute.
Austin now has won the bourbon raffle 3 out of 4 times. I think they're all legit.
No, they were all legit. Jess and I were the ones who pulled the raffle.
I'm just saying, because he was like, this is the 3rd time that now I will say the first 2 times he didn't make me give him the bottles. He let us carry them over, but this time it was the.
I think he got
the Greenweller.
I think he got the Greenweller. He's like, yeah, I'll be taking that one. Look, Miller Lending, great company, local. They've been doing this for a very, very long time. They understand the housing market around here. They understand how the economy around here works too, and they're going to help you when it comes to the matter of refinancing your house. Is it the right time to do it? There's only one way to find out. It's to start the conversation. So hit them up, 919-447-3377, or go to millerlending.com/theog. You take that thing to close, you're going to get a Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket. Thanks to everybody who has done this, by the way.
Right.
We've had a few folks this year contact Miller Lending, and they have had the conversations. And we also have seen a few saying, yeah, all right, let's make this thing happen.
I'll just, because I can't divulge anyone's name here, but the person who did this in September did get their shirt.
Good.
Which was a Roback. It was a dog theme Roback shirt, which you can't tell today is what I'm wearing. Yeah, they are the true hero in all of this.
Who?
I can't say their name. It's like confidentiality. The person who did the.
You know what?
Who went up and hit them up.
I feel like I should know these things because we saw Josh out there, Whitaker and Hamer.
We did.
I should ask him about this. Like, you cannot say these things. There's like confidentiality. There's legal reasons why you can't do these things. See, I'm not an expert in this stuff.
Josh won a bottle of I think the Blantons.
Did he win the Blantons?
Something. Yeah, okay. It was good.
Nice. Regardless, clearly I don't know my legal stuff. But
yeah, we do not.
Whitaker and Hamer do
come to us for legal advice.
So that's why you go to wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer. I don't know my legal stuff. And heck, when it comes to finances, I'm relying on Giglio. And honestly, I feel like we should probably rely on Chris Brassfield as well. Check them out, brassfieldaccounting.com. You might be a small business owner. You got a handle on the things that you know. You know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. But there are people out there that do, especially when it comes to your finances and getting you where you need to be on the books for important things like it's tax time. Do I have everything that I need to then take it to my tax expert?
Or organized.
Yes. Organized.
Reconciled. That's the word that they like to use in the business.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what a fractional CFO can do for you. So contact brassfieldaccounting.com. Again, that's brassfieldaccounting.com. And of course, our friends at Happy and Hale. You all know how my Tuesdays go, right? Direct from Enload to WCC, back and then back to WDC. I'm all over the place. That's why it's smoothie time.
My new favorite ad is I drove here, I drove there, I drove back. Wait, what is this an ad for?
Oh, it's for the bowl and a smoothie.
It's for a smoothie.
What does that have to do with anything? Convenience.
It has everything to do with the fact that I put it in the app. I know I'm going to have this time to pick it up. I pick it up and go. You might find yourself in a similar situation.
Yes.
And time is money. And that's where Happy and Hale's app comes through in the clutch. So check them out. Download the app today. Use that promo code OG25 to save 25% off your first.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
Again, use that promo code OG25, 25% off your first order on the app.
Curious to see which way we're going here. Got a lot to get into.
We do have a lot to get into today.
It's Monday. Anybody can podcast.
Can you explain the Ryder Cup drama to me? Man?
Not really.
No,
not really.
I guess it was spicy over.
I mean, how much down in the weeds do you want to go to?
Well,
you want to go to the emergency envelope weeds, or do you just want to?
I don't know. Look, all I know is that it started with Heather McMahon stepping down from her job as the MC, as the PGA of America's first TMC, for leading a "fuck you, Rory" chant on, what was this, on Saturday. Things were getting really spicy.
We try, America. We try. Fuck you, Rory. Fuck you, Rory. Fuck you, Rory.
All right, I think you get the point. This, of course, fires Rory McIlroy up. This is from Instagram as he's walking off the green. He's just pointing at the crowd, going, fuck you, and fuck you. And then his caddy's also doing the hand to the ear like, I can't hear you. So Rory was clearly fired up. And this, of course, leads to ultimately a Team Europe win over the U.S. Got a little dramatic on Sunday. I guess in team play, the Euros dominated. Individual play, the Americans came back. Rory clearly fired up after the event.
Accept that in golf. I think golf should be held to a higher standard than what was, than what was seen out there this week. Golf has the ability to unite people. Golf teaches you very good life lessons. It teaches you etiquette. It teaches you how to play by the rules. It teaches you how to respect people. And, sometimes this week we didn't see that. So, this should not be what is acceptable in the Ryder Cup. But, we will be making sure to say to our fans in Ireland in 2027 that, what happened here this week is not acceptable. And it's, for me, it's, come and support your home team. Come and support your team. I think if I was an American, I would be annoyed that I didn't hear a lot of shouts for Scotty today, but I heard a lot of shouts against me. And it's like, support your players. That's the thing. So, look, it was a rough week for all of us. But at the same time, we shut them up by our performance and how we played. And we tried to, I chirped back a few times because it got to me a few times, but we tried to handle everything that came our way with class and poise. And for the most part, I felt like we did.
It's very Coach Kaye of him.
Very.
Yeah. Cheer for your team. Let's go Duke.
Defense.
Yeah.
Let's go,
Come on, Duke.
Come on, Duke.
I mean, listen, the Ryder Cup is a completely different animal. I'm not trying to say the New York crowd was acceptable or unacceptable, whatever. But clearly, Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy, Shane Lowry, Tyrrell Hatton, all my favorite golfers, by the way, all not only played really well, but fed off of it.
Yeah.
So golf is the only sport where we require silence and etiquette and all this other stuff. Just let the fans be fans like they are at every other game, every other sport across the world. Do we stop the World Cup when people are chanting? No, just play.
Yeah.
It helped them. That's
right.
what I'm saying.
Right.
It helped you.
Right. See,
So did the course setup. Like,
this is where I'm conflicted. I get what Rory is saying because golf differentiates itself from other sports.
Sure, gentlemanly and all these
it's
other things.
It's not even gentlemanly. You always like to say guys got to live by a code,
sure,
right? And there's a lot of code when it comes to golf and how you go about your business. And that's why Rory gets so fired up about the whole live golf stuff, right?
Used to, yeah.
We're used to. I mean, who's to say where these things go in the next couple of years? So I get where Rory's coming from. In an event like this, the last thing you thought you'd be getting is a bunch of fuck you, Rory type stuff. I mean, not only from the fans, if it happens organically, it is what it is, but you're also getting it from an MC. Like, come on now. Like, what are we doing here? And I don't know. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it does show a little bit of like, where we're at with decorum at places that used to have decorum? Am I?
I mean, I'm going to shatter some glass here, but it's like, why do people like curse or don't? Why do people like it when I curse on this program? Because like the all of society and our rules on cursing has changed.
Well, let me put.
I'm not sitting here saying go tell Rory fuck you and chant fuck you Rory. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But he can't say it either because he turned around on one shot and said shut the fuck up.
Right.
And then the second he makes a shot, it
He's
was
fuck you.
fuck you.
What I'm getting at is we've established though. What I'm getting at is that we have established what this show is about.
And I think
there's going to be cursing, and that's your place to curse or don't. We're not surprising anybody with this kind of stuff. I guess what I'm getting at is, it's no different than how you act at, say, the governor's mansion. It's going to be a little bit different than when the governor comes to our place. You see what I'm getting at?
I get you.
So
you're saying there's certain situations that call for a decorum.
Yes.
But I would argue with you that the Ryder Cup is not one of those situations.
Okay.
The Masters, yes, one of those situations.
Okay.
The US Open, yes, one of those situations. But if we have one event, which is kind of what Live does, by the way, they play music, they don't turn things down. I don't mind this. And what's making me laugh is literally Tommy Fleetwood is now the latest in a long line of European players who cannot win a major, and it took them 5 years to win any event in the United States.
However,
okay. But the second Sergio Garcia, Ian Poulter, and the long line of these guys, the second they get into this, Lee Westwood, these are all guys who famously can't win majors, but are unbelievable Ryder Cup players, in part because Montgomery, and Colin Montgomery, in part because they feed off of that hatred. Whereas when you go to the Masters and they're like being polite to you,
it doesn't work.
It's like, God, I could really use somebody motherfucking me right now.
So it's interesting. I love that we're now old enough to know context about previous generations. And I thought that Carolina Panthers fan bait that was presented to me on Facebook about what would Jerry Richardson say right now. Jerry Richardson would probably say, don't forget Jeans Friday. That's probably what Jerry Richardson would say about the current situation. Like, we don't really need to be going back and thinking about, what would Jerry do? No, let's not do that. I thought that was going to top it. Incorrect. Where I, avowed non-golfer, sees somebody on social media say, this is where we got to make Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. We got to get them in some leadership role for Team USA because this is unacceptable. I'm thinking to myself, you mean the two guys who have losing records in this event? Like, no.
Listen.
Those are not the guys you want to talk to. Okay.
I'm not going to pretend to understand all of the ins and outs of the Ryder Cup.
I understand.
The Europeans are better at the team event portions. They always will be. We will always be better at the individual portions. It's just a matter of, can you get to the individual portion to give yourself a chance to win? They did not do that. I thought Bryson DeChambeau was the best American player, but look at his results. They weren't great.
Yeah.
I think America could use a little bit of Joe Giglio's axioms of sports, and that axiom of sport, and that is, doesn't matter what the sport is, you don't need assholes, you need motherfuckers. DeChambeau is a motherfucker, okay? Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantlay, his name's Patrick Cantlay, Harry English, like all of these guys who qualified through all their points throughout the year. Colin Morikawa, yeah, he's got 2 majors, Joe. Yeah, in perfect conditions where no one was paying attention during the pandemic. That's when he won. You need your guy, Brooks Koepka. I don't care what his form is. Throw him out there. Chris Gotterup, a guy who at the end of the year from New Jersey, by the way, was dialed in. You need a player like that. You need a player like Akshay Bhatia, who is a birdie machine. He's not the most consistent player on the planet, but he gets birdies. You know what you need in the Ryder Cup? Birdies. So I think the composition of the American team is truly its problem. They need more motherfuckers.
Topics, stack it up. Giglio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
We got a Super Bowl halftime entertainer, Joe.
We do.
It's Bad Bunny.
The guy from Happy Gilmore 2? The caddy?
Look, I'm a big fan of Bad Bunny. his album translates to Take More Photos.
Okay.
It's my album of the year. Straight up. I've listened to that album. I've listened to that album more than any other album in 2025. It's fantastic.
So this is a Super Bowl in California.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is back in the Bay Area, which is why we thought the Panthers were going to go back on the 10-year
Bay
anniversary.
City Rollers. So I don't know who would be appropriate geographically.
Metallica, maybe.
Okay.
It's time to bring Journey back. I have no idea. Can they get Steve Perry on the mic?
Steve Perry?
Maybe not. Yeah, so Bad Bunny was named the performer, and my spidey senses started to tingle because I thought, wait a minute. I thought we were headed towards a Taylor Swift Super Bowl.
Yes.
Based on some reporting, British outlets and local outlets, there was a conversation between Taylor Swift and the NFL, but they could not come to terms on who was benefiting who in the situation. The NFL usually comes at it from the perspective of understand that we're helping put you on, not the other way around. I'm very much of the opinion that the artists are the ones that make the Super Bowl halftime show what it is. You don't get good artists, well, you're going to have a drop off. You got to remember where the halftime shows used to be. They were a joke.
Yeah.
And you needed top end talent to co-sign on it. And based on some reporting, Taylor Swift wanted ownership of the halftime performance to do what she wanted to do. She's very big on, I understand and completely agree, she wants ownership of her work. And she's coming off of getting her master's back from the old company. So Taylor Swift, I guess, was in the mix. That fell through. They couldn't come to terms. There was a report in Page 6 that Adele was in conversations with the Super Bowl halftime show.
Okay.
Well, remember,
she's a little depressing.
Remember, she's dating Rich Paul.
Right.
So that would make sense on the connections.
I love Adele.
But to your point, like, I don't know if I want to tune in to hear her screaming hello from the other side. I just don't know if that's what I really want in my Super Bowl halftime show. So we end up with Bad Bunny. And for those who are unfamiliar with Bad Bunny, he's not a radio staple. He is completely of this era. He is the #1 streamed artist. He's highly recognizable. He just got done with a very successful Puerto Rican residency in La Casita, which I'm kind of mad that I wasn't able to go, but that's neither here nor there. And he's incredibly recognizable. He'll be opening up Saturday Night Live for their season opener.
Okay.
And all that kind of stuff. But I started to think to myself, we're kind of running out of people, are we not? Like, who can you go to in terms of the easily recognizable halftime performer?
That's a good point.
Is there a question? Is there a country artist that could do it?
I do think Morgan Wallen could do it.
So this is the new kind of America we live in, though, without this monoculture.
Right.
Whereas you, and I'm guessing a good chunk of our audience, could not name a single Bad Bunny song.
I cannot.
And this is, by the way, I should note, not his first time at the Super Bowl. He performed with, I think, Jennifer Lopez at Miami Super Bowl a long time ago because he guested on Cardi B's I Like It.
Okay.
With J Balvin.
Okay.
So he showed up in that for a cameo appearance. Regardless, whereas you can't name a single Bad Bunny song, I could not name for you a Morgan Wallen song.
Okay.
If you put on Morgan Wallen right now, I would not know if it's a Luke, a Zach, a Jelly, a Bryant of some sort.
Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And I know that Zach
But he's
Bryant,
all over the radio. Morgan Wallen, the difference is he's all over the radio.
and I guess that's the difference.
Yeah.
And I know Zach Bryant just sold like 114,000 plus at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, there's this whole other
He's
world.
not as popular as Morgan Wallen,
who is ubiquitous on the radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he did Morgan Wallen's thing lately has been his tour where he'll get you're the biggest star in your city comes out with him, or a sports star comes out with him to the stadium. Like he had Peyton Manning in full Tennessee Volunteer uniform.
Nice.
Walk out at Neyland Stadium for his concert, his homecoming concert at Knoxville. So, look, it'll be a good show. Right?
The Bad Bunny show?
Same thing as The Weeknd. Like I was like The Weeknd. And now The Weeknd had more songs than I realized.
Well, that's always
The Weeknd had way more songs than I realized.
I agree with you in that The Weeknd has way more songs. Is also a different time in that he was ubiquitous on the radio too.
Yeah.
And that ended up being more performance art than anything else.
Yes.
It was like there was some
that was
weird
also a
story.
pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a pandemic thing there. Anyway, I'm hype about Bad Bunny. And the best part about Bad Bunny, I'm pretty sure he could do Sapphira and not have it censored because nobody's going to know what he's talking about.
There we go.
But there is a line in that track where he talks about how, actually, I'm not going to. We've already cursed enough on this program. All I'm saying is there was a trend when this album came out in 2020 where kids would play the song to their abuelitas and they would be dancing along until he said this line and they went,
Will Pat McAfee be there now since Bad Bunny's a WWE guy too?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
But all I know is that Pat McAfee will find a way to be a look at me Louie like he was at the Whiteout. Oh, everybody's wearing white but you. Huh. Meals are stacking up because Butcher's Market keeps getting it right.
Love it.
Now, look, every time I go to the Butcher's Market, it's like, I want to try this. I want to try this. Oh, I got to get that.
You're so much better at that than I am.
A lot of it is frozen too, so you can just save it for later and use it in a pinch. Their prepared meals are top notch. So head on over to the Butcher's Market. You know you love them for just getting stuff out of the meat case, getting the steak tips, grilling out, all that kind of stuff, right? But the prepared meals. What?
I love us.
What?
We are the ones who are like, you really should go into the frozen section and get the ravioli at the fucking Butcher's Market.
It's delicious. That's all I'm saying.
And they love us. And I'm like, no. The hot tub. That's the way to go.
Go to thebutchersmarkets.com.
I think the point is they have a great selection.
They have a great selection. I was going to say, like, what I love about the Butcher's Market is I'm pointing out things that you might not have known. You might not know they had, including OG Light.
Because I get caught up on no, they're out. They need a re-up.
They need a re-up?
Yeah, I saw the tweet over the weekend.
All right, I'll talk to I'll talk to Whit. I'll talk to Whit about that. So in the meantime, go to thebutchersmarkets.com. Big thanks to Jared over at Two Roosters. He had a good time at the OG Golf Classic. I would say that on a day like Friday where it was super hot, ice cream would have hit.
Inexplicably, insufferably humid on Friday.
It didn't rain.
No.
And the ice cream also would have gone well with a lot of the bourbon that we had too.
Yeah.
That's next year's plan. How about that?
Ice cream?
Ice cream with the bourbon.
Okay. Well, tomorrow's the 30th, so we got new flavors coming soon.
So go get that fluffernutter. Make it happen. And then the new flavors
just
come
not
in
today
for October.
It's Monday.
Well, yes. Go get it on a Tuesday. So big thanks to tworoosters.com. Again, that's tworoosters.com. And as we mentioned with the return of the hockey season, they've got new items, including these little like hockey puck sandwiches, which are adorable looking. And of course, the Slave and Sunday, which I think you and I both agree.
Best value in the arena.
And honestly, so good. It's Power Through Crew approved. Big thanks to Longleaf Swan. You can make an entire date night soon at the Greystone Shopping Plaza.
I saw that. Big news for Adam and his crew.
So Adam and the crew are taking over a space there in Greystone, which also happens to have a Two Roosters
right next door.
So you go to Longleaf and then you go to Two Roosters right after that.
And the hatchery is there too.
All good stuff.
Yeah.
So big thanks to longleafswan.com. They're coming out with specials all the time. I'm kind of mad that I missed their Oktoberfest special items this past weekend. Hopefully they bring them back. Okay. That's a lot of pretzel themed stuff that I was really excited about. I just didn't have a chance to get out there. And of course, big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Big shouts to Hayes, man. He took to the little kid club pretty well.
I forgot that Hayes is lefty.
Yeah.
And apparently he smashed it upside down.
Yes. Ooh, really good stuff.
Yeah.
So big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority for being an OG corporate champion. You support us by supporting them. So go to bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com. What were you chuckling at?
The golf tournament and just the ridiculous swings that we have some videos of that Ken sent us of our corporate champions.
Yeah, big. Thank you for bringing it up. Thank you for reminding me. Big shouts to Ken. He was extremely helpful manning the 12th hole while I had to put you in like chill out mode.
Yeah.
You were overheating there for a bit. And I said, Jess and I have it. Go golf.
Yeah.
Like, we got to do this rough. Like, no, you don't. We'll go golf. Jess and I will handle it. And Ken's a big boy.
MVP.
The real MVP. So big thanks to Ken for helping us out at the OG Golf Classic. I do have a suggestion from Jess for next year. We have like the little kid club off of 12.
Yeah.
There was the putter for the drive.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey stick next year.
Whoa.
Let's do a hockey stick next year.
Boy, that would be tough.
That's the point. Do it from the red tees. Well, let's do it.
You want to tee off, or you want me to find the Callaway putter, the Happy Gilmore putter?
Maybe we do the putter instead.
Okay.
You got to putt once you're on the green with this.
Oh, we don't need the Callaway one. We just
get a hockey stick.
Yeah,
just get a regular hockey stick.
Okay.
Either way, off the drive or on the green.
I think drive would be tough. I think that maybe you putt with a hockey stick.
I like it. Let's do it.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go back to the sports phone. Brought to you by Nature's Relief. Check them out, naturesreliefhemstore.com. A lot of y'all needed some Nature's Relief on Saturday. That's all I'm going to say. You should have had it on.
Yeah, I could have used some on Friday myself.
You probably could have, but I know a lot of state fans in the building probably could have used. Maybe next time you go to a game, pop a gummy before you go into Carter Finley Stadium. I'd really like to hear the sports phone calls after that. Let's go to a 919.
Hey, Joe, it's your brother. Here's the thing. Now that I'm thinking, NC State's really just shit the bed at this point in the season, I might as well wear Miami gear to the game on November 15th just to appease Dad. But I know the second I do that, Miami's going to shit the bed in that game, and NC State's going to pull some ranked win out of their ass on that game. So I'm thinking we get 3 more wins this season. NC State will. Campbell, obviously. If they lose against Campbell, fire Dave into the sun on the spot. I think they'll get 1 ranked win. I don't know why, but Dave will pull something out of his ass. And then UNC, obviously. Fuck Bill Belichick. Good night.
Wow. Tell me you are a product of Ernie Ovies without telling me you are a product of Ernie Ovies by doing the psychology of which jersey am I going to pull out and what does that mean? If that doesn't sound like my dad. Cat's in the cradle, David. Cat's in the cradle. All right, to a 910.
Hey, guys. Listen, I know you're pretty in with Dave. Can y'all talk him into maybe leaving for the bait shop a little bit early? Maybe us as fans could get together, pitch in, get him a nice bait shop. I just know I want off of this fucking ride. I'm over it, and I'm tired.
So that call is similar to some other calls that were received. Like, for instance, I think this is from a 919 that's in a similar vein.
I've spent a lot of time in Carter Finley. I've walked out of that stadium muttering to myself more times than I can possibly imagine. I don't do that anymore because it just got too depressing. But I still watch and I still care. Tonight was as bad as it's ever been. A team back on its heels, a 3-1 pack team that could go places, could do something. And yet they just come out lifeless, unimaginative, uninspired, and ultimately just sad. The fan base deserves better than this. I don't know where the team goes from here. I don't know where leadership goes from here. Firing coaches seems to be an empty game plan because I don't know who you get instead. Maybe this is just where the team is. Maybe this is just where the program is. But damn it, we deserve better. Wolfpack Nation deserves better than this. I don't know. Just a bad night for Wolfpack fans. Shit.
And then there's this other one from a 910.
Dave Doeren. Pack your bags, pack your bags, pack your bags.
That's a deep cut right there.
Oh,
that's a deep cut.
That goes back to
I want to say that goes back to Tom O'Brien when he used to do a coach's show, and I forgot what loss it was, but poor Rusty had to like man the engineer. Like, real quick context. Coaches shows used to take phone calls.
Yes.
Okay. We discussed this in the brief history of Triangle Good and how Roy Williams and his infamous, I'm a coach. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a banker. I know more than you. That they stopped taking phone calls after that. I'm pretty sure NC State's football radio coaches show stopped taking phone calls and moved to social media posts only after somebody got through and said to Tom O'Brien after a key loss, pack your bags, pack your bags, pack your bags. It was such a toxic call that I'm pretty sure it got erased.
Ooh.
And I could not find it when it was time to find it, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the spectrum.
Yeah.
But I think the thing, this is true of Virginia Tech, and I think this is what's true of NC State right now, and I think what a lot of these calls is just kind of getting at. Once you lose the people, like the guys, like I've walked out of Carter Finley Stadium muttering to myself several times,
right?
But this is the worst. Or why am I doing this? Once you start to ask that question, this is not necessarily to your point earlier about treating Dave Doeren with a little bit more respect for what he's been able to do at NC State and hearing back, what do you mean what he's done at NC State? They haven't done jack shit at NC State. That's not the point. That's not the point. Once you stop caring, that's when it's the problem.
Yeah.
And to the caller's point about what does cycling through coaches do? Well, cycling through coaches is a bottom line business. In that, much like Brett Pry at Virginia Tech, once the Hokies decide, man, what's the point of going to Lane Stadium? That's a problem. And the same thing would apply to NC State. And that's the thing that Boo Corrigan also realized with Kevin Keats. Once you stop showing up, well, now we've got a problem. And I do have a sneaking suspicion that we're kind of at this point with Dave Doeren this season and why people are feeling the way that they feel. It's not that anybody expected NC State to have a college football playoff berth this upcoming season. What they did expect was CJ Bailey and the offense to be a formidable reason for them to win ACC games, especially over the likes of Virginia Tech and an interim coach. Right?
It's fair.
That's where things start to become a problem. And if you can't do that, it's not about being toxic with Dave. It's actually worse. You stop giving a shit. And that's probably where both parties will come to a final conclusion, Boo Corrigan and Dave Doeren. It's probably not good for business to bring you back another year. Let's go to a 910.
Dave Doeren. Pack your...
Oh, I played that one already. 252.
Hey guys, this thinking about the game, I think it kind of goes back to what Joe said earlier about Dave Doeren. Yeah, after this game, I do think that it's starting to resemble Herb Sindak and some basketball. So yeah, it is. Yeah, we're not going to get over the hump. I'm not trying to throw him underneath the bus, but I do think it may be time for Dave Doeren to start planning his exit or retirement from NC State. Yeah, that way he can save grace and go out on his terms. I do feel like he does believe that he deserves that. However, I do think football's starting to resemble basketball. And we need to get to that next level. We do need to get to that level. As always, appreciate the show and the podcast. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Seem fairly rational.
I would agree. All right, one more. This is from a 910.
Why do we come to these games? Why do we come? If I want to get drunk in a fucking parking lot, I'll go to the fucking Chili's. At least I know I'm going to get my baby back ribs in there. Someone just asked, who's even coaching Virginia Tech tonight? Who the fuck cares? Old Dominion put it in their fucking ear, and we can't beat them. Fuck! All right.
I gotta write that one down for the year in review. Baby back ribs. 929. Got it.
Figured we would close on that one.
That's good.
Figured we would close on that one. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. Big thanks to Mike Kaye, or maybe Mike Kaye should be thanking us for a little therapy session. Talking about the Panthers.
Yeah, like we would do with Julian. It's like, man, we're just from the outside. We're not down.
We are not.
It's our friends Corey Smith and JC Zemble and Andrew Jones. They're all going to be going through it this year. All of them.
Yeah, man.
Everybody.
It's rough. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.